Good afternoon. It is such a thrill to see all of you here today. And I want to say, if you can imagine any three people who live and breathe what it means to be champions for foster kids, it is our three co-chairs, Ann Doherty, Julie Ferris, and Christine Kruger. Will you please give them a hand? Treehouse could not help foster kids in the powerful way we do without extraordinary donors, volunteers, and community partners. Hundreds of individuals, companies, schools, organizations all make a lasting impact on children. And I have the great pleasure of recognizing several of them today. The Wendy Walters Truitt Champions for Foster Kids Award is given to a volunteer who goes above and beyond. It's named for Wendy Truitt, longtime board member, donor, and volunteer. She is a person you can rely on to say yes when there's a need, to connect people to causes, and to think creatively. Her impact at Treehouse is long-lasting, and that's why we've named the award in her honor. Every year, it goes to a volunteer who's, in the name of the award, gone a little farther than expected for any reasonable volunteer. And this year it goes to the Eva family, Elaine, David, Lauren, and Tully. The Evas have been supporters of Treehouse for many years, but true to the award, went a little farther with their philanthropy. Years ago, Elaine read a memoir about someone who had hung lollipops on his tree overnight and then invited neighborhood children to harvest them. She and her husband David talked about it and decided they wanted to create a magical tradition for their kids, Lauren and Tully. And so for 8 years they've been inviting friends, family, and neighbors to help them harvest their lollipop tree. 4 years ago, when Tully and Lauren were old enough to have figured out the magic part, they decided to turn it into a family fundraising event benefiting Treehouse, and this magical tradition has raised more than $27,000. Pretty great impact. We have a very creative team who created a beautiful award for them. It's a lollipop. So, I'm also pleased to share our award for our corporate partner, which is to AT&T. Through their national Aspire High School Success Initiative, AT&T focuses on high school graduation, which is perfectly in line with our goal at Treehouse to double the high school graduation rate for kids in foster care. Over the years, AT&T has given Treehouse over $875,000 in support of foster children. To honor them in this award, we've made a little video for them.
Hey guys, what's better, 12 duck-sized horses or one horse that looks like a duck?
One horse that looks like a duck.
One horse that looks like a duck? Logan.
Well, 12 horse, that's is better because it has a bigger number than one.
Would you be able to ride the horse?
That I do not know. Well, I think you can ride it.
You think you can?
Yeah. Or maybe if the duck had wings.
Where would you fly?
Oh, I know where we would fly to.
Where?
Ohio.
Okay guys, what's better, to graduate high school or to not graduate high school?
Graduate high school because then it can keep moving on.
How about you, Elliot? Do you want to graduate high school?
Yeah.
Yeah? What are you going to do when you graduate?
Be an artist.
An artist? Angeli?
I would graduate because then you can get more money for yourself.
What's the best cell phone company?
AT&T!
Good job.
Thank you, AT&T Washington President Bob Bass, for believing in the mission of Treehouse, and AT&T's Director of Public Policy and our own young professional board member, Kimberly Darren, for making the introduction. It's now my honor to present the Community Partner Award to two outstanding legislators and champions for foster kids, Representative Ruth Kagi and Representative Reuben Carlisle, who are extraordinary leaders, allies, collaborators, and lions in the legislature. Representative Kagi is nationally known as a leader in child welfare reform and early learning policy. She was one of the first legislators across the country to propose a policy agenda to promote improved educational outcomes for youth in foster care. She established a state priority to keep kids in their schools when they entered care, and under her leadership, school districts and child welfare agencies were urged to collaborate more creatively. She lobbied successfully for a federal waiver that allows a new effort in Washington state to provide services keeping kids safely in their homes instead of removing them to stranger foster care. And as if all that weren't enough, she secured and then repeatedly renewed Treehouse's funding for our statewide educational advocacy program. This session, among many accomplishments, she succeeded in passing the Treehouse priority, the Youth Opportunities Act, which seals most juvenile criminal records so youth who've experienced the benefits of juvenile rehabilitation have an unencumbered path into young adulthood. Representative Carlisle took up the banner for educational outcomes for youth in foster care as a citizen lobbyist before he entered the legislature, was elected, that is, crafting and securing the Passport to College Promise program, which provides high school preparation, advising, and flexible financial aid for post-secondary alumni of foster care. He's authored and passed 3 policy initiatives to improve foster care educational outcomes, all focused on pragmatic approaches that provide urgent action from schools or social workers when youth falter in school. He sought and secured state funding to support Treehouse's innovative graduation success program. But his big goal is for Washington State to lead the nation in the best high school graduation rates for youth in foster care. And already, working on his 2015 agenda, he's charged a group of stakeholders to build on past successes and fundamentally change the trajectory for high school youth in foster care. Thank you, Representatives Kagi and Carlisle.
Well, thank you so much, Janis. She told me I have 1 minute if I want to say something. So I'm going to tell you a quick story. 16 years ago, my first year in the legislature, Jim McIntyre got a provision in the budget for the study of foster care education outcomes. And a year later, we got those study results, and they were, of course, dismal. And for the first time, we saw how tragic children's experiences when they went into foster care were in education. We had a meeting with the superintendent of public instruction and the assistant secretary of the Children's Administration, who had never met each other. And Janis came, and we talked about what is happening with children in foster care in the education system. And it was the beginning of a long, very productive path with Treehouse and our state agencies. So I am so grateful to Treehouse for all that they've done, and to Janis for her determination and persistence.
Representative Kagi carries so much moral authority on this issue. It's an inspiration. Everything that we do in our personal and our public lives as people is about emotional connection and the spiritual energy that it takes to work with passion and conviction on issues is something that drives each one of us, whether we're citizen legislators or whether we're here today. I just want to thank Janis, I want to thank Jim Theophilus, I want to thank Representative Mary Lou Dickerson, so many people who've built the foundation of citizen activism so that we can be the #1 state in the nation, an outlier state, and figure it out so that young people in foster care not only graduate high school, are set up for success in post-secondary education. We're better than this as a state. We're better than this as a nation not to figure this out. You are wonderful. Thank you for your support of Treehouse. Thank you.
I have had the incredible honor of serving as the executive director and then CEO of Treehouse for the last 19 years. And you can tell that the quality of people who come to this conversation help to make it some of the most important, powerful work we can imagine. And it is a partnership between all of you in the community who have come to care about kids in foster care, legislators, state agency leaders, and just an extraordinary, extraordinary journey. My passion for improving those outcomes certainly is professional, but I also have had a huge dose of personal commitment as well, because I am the adoptive mother of 2 adopted children from foster care, Amber and Daryl, who joined our family more than 18 years ago when they were 6 and 4 years old. Today, there are more than 9,000 foster children like Daryl and Amber in foster care in Washington State. They woke up this morning in unfamiliar surroundings. They left behind favorite clothing and toys. Many were separated from their brothers and sisters. They're worrying about what's going to happen to them. And every time they have to move, they lose not just their family, but teachers, friends, coaches, neighbors, everyone they know and love. Life in foster care can be extraordinarily challenging and disruptive for kids emotionally and developmentally. My children's experience is similar to many youth in foster care. They had poor prenatal care, and their early attachment was disrupted by substance abuse and domestic violence. They moved among relatives and foster parents often, and this led to a lot of emotional and behavioral volatility throughout their childhood, which made our home life and school life an uphill battle. In addition to these struggles, many youth in foster care miss out on important socialization activities that many of us take for granted. Things like music lessons and team sports, as well as access to funding for essential needs like clothing and school supplies. Treehouse was founded by social workers at Children's Administration who saw the children that foster children face in their daily work and sought community support to fill the gaps. State government does not and cannot provide everything youth in foster care need and deserve. Today, Treehouse is transforming the lives of 6,000 youth across Washington State, giving them the same opportunities and support that all of our community's young people deserve to succeed in school, to meet their key material needs, and to experience important childhood activities, which enables them to fulfill their hopes and dreams for the future. Kids like mine arrive in foster care every day, wearing just the clothes on their backs or with a sad plastic garbage bag full of ill-fitting clothing and broken toys. With the help of hundreds of volunteers who coordinate drives and sort and organize donation, more than 1,600 kids receive 100,000 items worth over $1 million every year at the warehouse, which is our free store, and they annually receive clothing, gifts, and school supplies that help them fit in, feel good, and be prepared for school. Through our Little Wishes program, 1,400 youth experience music lessons, team sports, summer camp, and high school milestones like prom and a yearbook every year. When just about everything was going wrong, my children found a lot of joy and delight in their extracurricular activities and experiences. Only half of youth in foster care graduate high school, compared to 75% of their peers. I don't need to tell you that the lack of a high school diploma for a youth in foster care creates a disproportionately high rate of poverty, homelessness, incarceration, unplanned pregnancies, and substance abuse when they leave care. These outcomes are not just tragic for the individuals, but very costly for our community. Last year, we launched our plan to reach an ambitious goal to level the playing field for youth in foster care. Our goal is for foster youth in King County to graduate at the same rate as their peers with a plan for their future by 2017. Building on a quarter century of practice and the best research available, the Treehouse team is taking on this challenge. We are fiercely optimistic about each youth's capacity for success as we address the graduation rate with urgency and discipline. We partner with school districts, government agencies, social workers, and funders to change the trajectory of kids in foster care by helping them make it to graduation day and beyond. We're in year 2 of this bold plan. Our Graduation Success Program is a proactive graduation promotion strategy, and this is how it works. Middle and high school aged youth in foster care are matched with a Treehouse education specialist who is the quarterback of a network of support, including social workers, caregivers, teachers, and an in-school mentor. You may wonder why youth in foster care need an education specialist. That long list of players is part of the reason. Youth in foster care are raised by a committee with ever-changing members and conflicting priorities. School success is at the top of the list for Treehouse every single day. The education specialist helps youth create their plan for the future, define their own goals, determine the people in their life who can support them, and what steps they need to take to get there. The specialist also watches and urgently intervenes when attendance, behavior, or course performance falters on a daily basis. In many, many cases, no one has asked and really listened to what a youth in foster care wants to do in their lives, but Treehouse does. We join with each youth to build a vision for the future that no one can take away from them. In a few minutes, you'll hear from some youth who are working with education specialists to plot their future direction. As parents, when our kids face challenges, we bring them hope, optimism, and the capacity to see strengths and recognize improvements. We rally others to support them in finding their path to success. When we adopted kids, one aunt predicted that Daryl would be dead or in jail by the time he was 16. His behavior was that out of control. Neither of my kids looked like they would do well in life. But today, despite everyone's predictions, at 22 and 23 years old, they are happy, healthy, learning in community college, and working. We maintained the long view and steady role in their lives and help them identify and begin to reach their goals, just like you do for your children. Treehouse plays this role for youth in foster care throughout the state. Thanks to transformational gifts made by a group of early investors, the Treehouse Graduation Success Program has grown from serving 350 students in September 2012 to more than 500 middle and high school students today. They are all over 100 schools across 15 school districts. Their trauma, loss, and high mobility make our work extremely complex. And if anyone knew how to reach this goal, if it were solved already, we wouldn't be doing what we're doing. We're bringing research, innovation, and a powerful commitment to measuring our progress and learning from our experience. As an investor, you become a partner along this path. And I'd like to offer anyone today here who's interested the opportunity to read that plan, learn more about what we're doing, and give us feedback. These conversations lead to refinements and better services for our young people. Kids come into foster care through no fault of their own. We as a community have a special obligation to help kids that come into the state's care, our community's care, receive the same opportunities as other kids, all of our kids, so they can graduate high school and pursue their dreams. Over the next 3 years, we will continue to expand and refine graduation success, adding more students each year with the target of serving every middle and high school-age student in foster care in King County by 2017. We're seeking expanded funding to serve an additional 300 students. Today is your opportunity to join Treehouse in leveling the playing field for youth in foster care. As you listen to our powerful speakers, you'll hear how they're enabling youth to be defined by their potential and not by their circumstances. How we're giving them the same opportunities as every other kid to graduate high school and pursue their dreams. With your support, in 2017, Graduation Success will serve more than 800 students in all 20 school districts in King County. And youth in foster care who make up the class of 2017 will graduate at the same rate as their peer group with a plan for their future. You can help Treehouse close the high school graduation gap for youth in foster care forever. Thank you.